Alright, so it's going to be our notes on the legislature. We've been looking at the U.S. government, and we kind of learned about the fact that there's three branches. We have the three branches, and you guys should have some knowledge of this already, I'm hoping. I'm not going to go into too much depth with it, but so we have the legislative, we'll just call that L. Then we have the executive, which is the president, E. And then we have the judicial, which is Supreme Court and all other judges, which is J. And then these all interact to perform the functions that need to be done by the government. Today we're going to be looking at the L, or legislature. And like I said, it's one of the three branches. And our founding fathers, or founders, they originally designed our government in that there were many checks and balances, and we're going to learn about that in a few class periods. But we're kind of going through each branch, and then we'll talk about the checks and balances and kind of analyze it. So this is one of the three branches, the legislature, and it includes the House and the Senate, and this is bicameral, right? So you have two. Okay, bicameral. If you remember, originally the Articles of Confederation, they had one, just a legislature with one house. But I've never really read about it, but certainly they've seen the error in that, and needing instead to have two, they came up with the House of Representatives, the House, and the Senate. And then you take these two together, if you join them, this is the Congress. Really. So when you hear the word Congress, it's talking about the Senate and the House of Representatives. Okay. So as you see here, the House of Representatives has 435 members, and each state gets a certain amount based on their population. You see here Alaska has one representative, so there's 435 people, and one of those people represents Alaska. This is determined based on population, so our population here in the state is kind of low, so it doesn't really warrant that we get many representatives. But we're helped, though, and you'll see the Senate here, when we talk about it in a minute, we're helped by that, the fact that we have equal footing there. But this one is just based on population size. Okay? And so 435, and they help make laws. They do a lot of different functions. This part is really a more personal. So these guys, they serve people. So if you have a problem, you can call them. So you could call Don Young's office on the phone and say, hey, I got something going on in Kenny Lake, and I need help with it. Some specific local thing that you need help with. And they can help you. And they have a lot of offices in, I think they have one in Glen Allen, and they come out and meet regularly with their constituents. But they deal with the more personal issues for voters. That's what the House's job is. And then oftentimes, like we watch the bill, like say somebody has an idea like this is going on, and they talk to their representative about it, and perhaps the representative says, that's a good idea, let's put some regulation, or let's frame a law and pass that through the Congress to help my people that I serve in Alaska. So that's kind of the House of Representatives. If we then erase this, we look at the Senate, they're a little different. So we have the House, it really represents each person individually, and then the Senate is more equal. And if you remember, the House Representative 435, only have one person from Alaska. But here there's 100 members, 2 per state. So whether you're Alaska, you get 2, or whether you're California, the most populated state, you get 2. So everybody's on an equal footing here. And our 2 U.S. senators are Dan Sullivan, just elected, and Lisa Murkowski. These guys have 6-year terms. And I should probably go back. These guys up here, so 2 years. So every 2 years they have to get reelected. And these guys are really constantly running for re-election. So they're really much more accountable. So these guys are super accountable, because if they say they're going to do something and then they have 2 years to do it, and if they don't do it, people can say we're getting rid of you. Here they have 6 years. So they get in there, they have 6 years to accomplish something before they get voted on again. These guys not running so much all the time for election. So they have a little bit more freedom to do things that represent everybody. And so their election length helps accomplish that. Okay, so these guys here, though, these are more state as a whole. So they represent Alaska, not each individual, but the state as a whole. So if there's something like drilling for oil on the Arctic Wildlife Refuge, so that's an idea that affects the whole state. So he kind of deals with that, or she kind of deals with that. Or maybe it's the idea of funding for building our roads. A lot of that comes from federal money, and so they deal with that. They're not so much as a representative like Don Young dealing with personal issues in Kenny Lake. The senators are dealing with overall issues from the whole state. So those are the two houses bicameral. Again, means two. The functions of all of these, really, though, the first one is to serve their constituents, serve the people that elected them. The House goes more to personal, the Senate goes more to the state. They're also probably one of the main ones is to pass laws. So if a new law needs to come in and affect something like the drilling in the Arctic Wildlife Refuge, they might pass some new laws to help make that easier. And Dan Sullivan and Lisa Murkowski might sponsor those bills, bring them to the floor, get them voted on, and get the process rolling. Okay, so that's kind of their main function. But they also do things like they make, or not really make, let's get rid of that, they ratify treaties. Okay, and so they ratify treaties. So maybe an ambassador goes or the president goes and they make a treaty with another country, they bring that back, and Congress will then ratify it, vote on it, and if they get the number of votes, it will pass, and then we'll have that treaty. Or if it doesn't, then the treaty isn't ratified, and then it doesn't go into effect. And you don't hear about that too much, but they do that. And they also declare war. So if the president wants to go to war with whoever, another country, Russia, whoever it would be, they have to get Congress to approve that. Now lately, with the way things have been going in the world, the president and the executive office has been finding ways around that. So they haven't really had to go to Congress and declare war. I'm going to erase that. And so they've been kind of going around that, and it's really important. It's probably something that our country really needs to go back to, because there's a reason why they put that in. Because, to go to war is a very serious thing, and it costs a lot of money. It affects many people. So we want to make sure that people agree that we want to do that. So really, it should be Congress that decides to declare war. And then also they kind of like watch over things. Congressmen watch over, so they can impeach judges, the president, whoever, cabinet members, I think, as well. So they can throw people out of office if they're not doing their job. They can hold a hearing, and if they have probable cause, they can then impeach the president, judges, and so on, and have them thrown out of office. And also really important for legislature and the Congress and the House of Representatives, the power of the purse. So they hold all funding in their hands. So it's one of the checks that's in place. So all the funding goes through the Senate. So if one of the other branches, judicial or the executive, want to do something, they still have to go through these guys, because without funding, without money, they can try to do stuff, but if the Congress says we're not going to give you any money, it's really hard to get that thing done that you want to do without any money. So Congress has that check in their favor. They can, and you've probably heard they had a government shutdown maybe a year or two ago, where Congress said we're not going to fund anything if you don't pass this bill, or the president wanted to pass a bill. I'm not sure how it all went, but they shut the government down, and nobody got paid until the congressman and the president agreed on this thing they were fighting about. And it can last a long time, weeks, until they come to an agreement. And that's just something the legislature has in their back pocket. They can say, we're not going to fund this, and they can shut all funding down until an agreement is reached. So that's kind of the legislature. I hope that was helpful for you to understand, help you understand that. Make sure you annotate these, so add to them, and turn them into me. So that's a homework assignment. Let me know if you have any questions about this.